Emily had always felt like a shadow, present but unseen, existing but never truly living. From the time she was a little girl, the world had made sure she knew she didn't fit in. The whispers in the hallways, the stifled laughter behind cupped hands, the cruel nicknames all chipped away at her until she learned to fold into herself, becoming smaller in spirit even if her body refused to comply. Her mother Diane was her only light. A hard-working single parent who juggled 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. She loved Emily fiercely. But love couldn't always be present in the way a child needed. By the time Diane came home, exhaustion clung to her like a second skin, and Emily never had the heart to burden her with the weight of her sorrow. Instead, she swallowed her tears and told her mother she was fine. School was a battlefield. Every time a teacher called on her, her throat tightened, her voice trembling as she forced out the right answer between stutters. The snickers that followed made her wish she could disappear. Still, she buried herself in books, finding solace in the one thing that never judged her: knowledge. When high school ended, Emily had the grades to go to any university she wanted. But fear kept her rooted. The thought of starting over in a new place with new people who might tear her down all over again was paralyzing. So she chose a nearby college, where at least the cruelty was familiar. Then came a miracle. A friend named Sarah, a cheerful, outspoken girl who saw Emily sitting alone in the cafeteria and plopped down beside her with a grin. "You look like you could use some noise in your life," she said. And just like that, Emily wasn't invisible anymore. Sarah dragged her out of her shell. Study dates, silly jokes, late-night talks about dreams and fears. For the first time, Emily laughed without worrying about who was watching. But even with Sarah's brightness in her life, some wounds ran too deep. When boys showed interest, Emily shrank away. How could they want her? The echoes of those cruel words still haunted her. After college, Emily landed a good job. Stable, respectable. Diane beamed with pride. "My brilliant girl," she'd say, cupping Emily's face. But as the years passed, her mother's pride turned to gentle concern. "When will you bring a man home?" she teased one evening. "I don't want you to end up like me, a boring old single mother." Emily forced a smile and said maybe soon. But the truth was, loneliness had become her companion. Every evening she returned to her quiet apartment, the silence pressing in. She longed for love, for someone to see her really see her. But the fear of rejection was a cage she didn't know how to break. One day, Sarah visited and took one look at Emily's tired eyes. "You're still letting them win," she said. "Ooh," Emily whispered. "The ones who made you feel small. But you're not that girl anymore. You're Emily, smart, kind, beautiful. And it's time you started believing it." Tears spilled. For the first time, Emily let herself want more. Sarah's words lingered in Emily's mind like a stubborn melody. For weeks she replayed them, wondering if she truly had the strength to break free. Then one evening she stumbled upon a post that said, "The world tried to shrink you because your light made them uncomfortable. But you were never meant to be small." Something inside her shifted. The next morning she signed up for dance class. "If I can't love my body, maybe I can at least learn to move in it without shame," she told herself. The first session was agony. She was certain everyone was staring. But by the third week, something unexpected happened. She caught herself smiling in the mirror. Not at her reflection, but at the joy of movement. At work, a new project brought her into contact with Daniel, a soft-spoken architect who left encouraging notes on her documents. "Your analysis was brilliant," one read. "You have a way of seeing what others miss." Emily brushed it off, until he asked her out for coffee. Panic set in. What if he changes his mind when he really looks at me? But Sarah's voice echoed in her head. "Stop rejecting yourself before others even get the chance." So she went. And Daniel, he listened, really listened when she spoke. He didn't flinch when she admitted her fears. Instead he said, "The things you hate about yourself might be the very things someone else will adore." It wasn't love at first sight. But it was the beginning of something far more precious. Being seen. Diane noticed the change. The lighter step, the occasional laughter. One night she sat Emily down. "You seem happier," she said. What's different? Emily hesitated, then spilled everything. The years of silence, the pain of feeling unworthy, the slow journey toward self-acceptance. Tears filled Diane's eyes. "Oh, my baby," she said. "I didn't know. I was so busy trying to give you a better life that I forgot to ask if you were living it." Emily hugged her tight. "You gave me everything, Mom. The rest, that's mine to fix." Years later, on her wedding day, Emily stood before a mirror in a dress that hugged her curves like a celebration. Sarah, her maid of honor, grinned. "Look at you," she said. "Who would have thought the girl who hid in the shadows would shine this bright?" Outside, Daniel waited. Not for a perfect woman, but for her stretch marks, insecurities and all. As she walked toward him, Emily realized something. The world had tried to convince her she was too much and not enough all at once. But love, true love, had whispered back, "You are exactly what you need to be." If you see yourself in Emily's story, if you've ever felt too broken, too flawed, too anything to be loved, hear this. Your scars do not make you unworthy. Your body does not define your magic. The voices that once shamed you do not get to write the rest of your story. Healing isn't linear. Some days the old insecurities will creep back. But with every small act of courage, a new hobby, an honest conversation, a yes where you'd usually say no, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You are not a shadow. You are a storm, a sunrise, a symphony. Unfinished, yes, but breathtaking in the making. Keep going. The world needs your light.